Good afternoon, everyone. It is 4:36 p.m. here in the Pacific Northwest. I am Dr. Diggs, and today we're going to be looking at Frederika and how she is as a unit, what type of equipment is good for her, what espers, what cards, and what type of abilities you should be really using her with. Now, Frederika is a gunner, ninja, and a hunter. She is the Love-Struck Forest Gunner. And she gets a master ability, which you unlock at level 40, of missile attack plus 15, which is incredible. Her TMR is going to be the Victory Ribbon, and that's going to give HP plus 434, accuracy plus 12, and critical hit plus 12, which is very nice. Now, as we go into this next phase and start talking about her stats and abilities, I do want to shout out Trino out there from our Discord. He really helped me out in gathering some of the ability information, so I appreciated all of you guys who are on our Discord helping us out. Looking at her stats, we got 1,988 HP, which is actually really high. I would not expect a gunner to have that amount of HP. Her AP is 119, movement 3, jump plus 1, an attack of 195, but you do get that attack of plus 71 on there. Magic is 72, speed of 63 with an additional plus 5 speed from the agility plus, which puts it at a beefy 68, one of the higher speeds in the game. Dexterity 210 with an additional 22 to bring it to 232 with an additional plus 20% dexterity and an additional critical hit rate plus 13. So we're going to have a lot of dexterity plus, a lot of attack plus. That dexterity modifier on ranged attacks is going to kick in here. And she is going to be a monster of a gunner. Now, looking at her abilities here, I did pull out the most important abilities, and then on the next page we'll be going over passives. If you guys are wondering where all of the percentages and the modifiers are coming from, that is from warofthevisionscalc.com. Shout out for whoever it was that set that out. I appreciate it. Make sure you go tip that man with some coffee. He is amazing having found all the percentages like this. The first ability, which is going to kick some serious ass, you do have to have Ranger Sub to have access to, and that's going to be Barrage. It is a high AP ability, but the spread and the damage that can do is very high. So at a fully leveled 20 out of 20, it's going to be a 65x modifier. Sharpshoot, which you also need Ranger Sub for, and is one of the most useful abilities in her kit, deals medium damage, so at maxed out it's going to be a 65x as well. It has the bonus of being a guaranteed hit, so you don't have to worry about the accuracy. And it can hit people from behind pillars. So being a gunner, it's really easy for people to just duck behind pillars. I know I have a Ryu, and it's so frustrating trying to hit people behind those pillars. But now, if someone jumps behind a pillar, with Frederika, you're able to just get back there, sharpshoot them, and nail them and kill them. She also has Double Shot, which at its maximum has a 39x modifier. Now, Double Shot is interesting because it gets twice the modification from missile attack, right? So the attack hits twice, it's going to get twice the modification of any buffs that you have on your character. So that's something to think about in terms of if you're able to balance your attack and your missile attack, you should be able to theoretically do your most damage with Double Shot. However, from talking to people who are Frederika users in my Discord, and there's a lot of them, almost all of them really swear by maximum damage using Arm Shot. Now, Arm Shot deals large damage and has a chance of inflicting Disable for 3 turns. It's a 65x base modifier to a 100x base modifier with a 25 to 50% chance for Disable, not blind, guys, sorry. And its AP is going to be 28, so it's pretty reasonable. Now, we were having a discussion about the percentage chance for debuffs to proc on other characters and whether or not we should be putting, for example, Leg Shot on here for Immobilize. And it came up in the discussion that there is going to be, to an element, some Frederikas out there with maxed Faith because they want to try and maximize the debuff landing from their attacks. Something to think about. I don't know for sure if Faith carries over the percentage of blind from weapon shots or immobilize or anything like that. If any of you guys do know, please go ahead and drop that in the comment section down below. Finally, we have probably the best counter in the game, and that's going to be Reflex. So Reflex just gives a 100% dodge chance for 5% to 15% of the time. With some perspective here, if it's at maxed at 15%, that thing is going to give you some very powerful evasion, and when you're able to dodge those attacks, that could be the difference between winning and losing a match. So if you don't have reflex set, you are making a mistake. Max that out and set it. In terms of Frederika's passives, there are just a ton of passives, you guys, that are all reasonably good. So let's go ahead and go over all of them. She has Concentrate, which gives range +2 and lowers evasion. And then the lowers evasion, once it's capped out, is only going to be lowers it by 5% evasion. Still not the best, but that range +2 is nice, right? We have Ranger Lore, which gives range +1 and increases accuracy 10 to 15 at maxed. Shukichi gives move and jump +1. Shadowrunner raises agility and luck, so at maximum modifier, that's going to be a 12% agility modifier and a 12% luck modifier. Focus is going to increase activation time of abilities by an additional 150 CT, and then the missile attack is going to be increased from 5% to 12%, and then missile mastery is going to raise missile attack 5% to 15%. So there's a lot to talk about here, and I'm not sure fully where to begin. Let's talk about Shikichi first, though. I think Shikichi is probably not the most important ability here, because the movement is going to really counter that range +2. She has the range, she doesn't need that movement and jump. So I'm going to go ahead and say we can probably get rid of Shikichi. I think Shadowrunner is probably one of the most important passives here with that agility +12%. For someone who already has a really high agility, that 12% modifier is only going to buff her even further than some other units. So I would definitely run Shadowrunner. And then I also see that we have Concentrate, Ranger Lore, Focus, and Missile Mastery. My instincts would be to use Missile Mastery, because that's that +15 missile attack. I would also want to use Concentrate for that range +2. I could also see the combination of running Concentrate and Missile Mastery, or Concentrate and Focus, honestly. Honestly, you guys, Ranger Lore is pretty much the only one that you can just get out of here. And you have this mixture of Concentrate, Shadowrunner, Focus, and Missile Mastery, where honestly, you could set any combination of the two of these, and you could probably be really successful. In fact, it might be worth maxing out all 4 of these, because they are all so powerful. And just to talk about Focus real quick, you're going to be subbing Ranger a lot with Frederika, and I almost think Focus might be worth it. You're losing out on a 3% missile attack modifier from Missile Mastery. But honestly, it does open up those charge attacks, and you could actually use some of those charge attacks. As horrible as I know that sounds when you have access to other instant abilities, something to think about, because a maximum reduction of 150 CT is a 15% reduction in cast time. So that's pretty significant, pretty fast, something to think about there, and with only minor penalties of the -3% from compared to Missile Mastery. So I'm not going to give you guys a for sure answer. You're going to have to mix and match and play with this on your own. In terms of her resistances, she is weak to slashing, 15%. She has a resistance to piercing from spears by 10. She has a resistance to magic by 10%. She has a weakness to earth by 10%. And she has a 20% resistance to water. She is resistant to sleep, petrify, and a little bit weak to charm, which is not surprising. For espers, I actually heard that Behemoth was a very popular one. Sorry guys, I feel like I say that in every single video. I think Behemoth would be popular from what I've heard just from the agility plus and from the attack plus that's on him. I honestly wouldn't pick Behemoth as my first one, but I know a lot of people plan for that Frederika moving first, so I could see that as well. Ifrit, I would put on just for the attack plus and the survivability, get you some missile resistance, get you some ice resistance for Medina. The Ahriman, or the Eye, does have missile attack plus in its kit. I'm not sure the amount of missile attack is worth it, though, for the amount of stats you would lose transitioning to the Ahriman. I think maybe if you were going for some type of a double shot build where you're trying to maximize the modification on missile attack and attack percentage, you might be able to make a build with the Ahriman, but I honestly think it might not be the best idea. In terms of Odin, that 25% man killer, you can't go wrong with it. His stats are so good. He gets slash resistance to counteract her slash down. You're gonna see Odin put on her. If you have Odin, just put him on anyone, because Odin's pretty much the freaking best at everything. In terms of cards, of course you want to use the Frederika card if you got it. That gives the lightning attack plus and the shooting plus for your party. If you have Odin, if you have Odor, you need some help right now. If you have Odin, definitely you're going to want to put him on as well, because you get that 10% man-eater and you get that 20% resistance to slashing or any other type of attack or ranged attack. And most attacks on Frederika are going to be ranged. Sharpened Concentration here actually is a really viable choice. It gives accuracy plus 5 with a max of 20, and missile attack plus 10 with a max of plus 20 as well. I think there's not many cards out there that actually increase the missile resistance, and it's one of those things that, you know, you're gonna need it. It's a free 20% damage potentially. If you're running a I cannot talk in this video. If you're running a gunner comp, it's gonna be viable. Now, the last card on the list is called Long Awaited Holiday, and y'all have probably never heard of this card before, because this is one of those situations where you would only use it. So the effect on the unit is Dexterity plus 20% when it's maxed out, and the party ability is Luck plus 11%. So Dexterity does modify ranged attack damage, and I don't believe it would be a straight 20% modifier. I think it would probably be like a 10% modifier or even a 5% modifier. Something to think about, though. It's definitely a strong buff. Potentially, you could put this card on her, and if you don't have Odin or have her own card, you could put a combination of Sharpened Concentration on to get that missile attack up, get Ifrit in here to do some attack plus up from the party buffs. You could mix and match a little bit, so something to think about as there. And of course, finally, Secret Orders. If you have nothing else, that Agility Plus is just going to be incredible. Something you can put on there. The slash attack will benefit the party. It'll all work out for you guys. Alright everyone, well, thank you so much for watching my Frederika breakdown. If you have any comments, which I'm sure you guys do, please drop them in the comments section. I do try my hardest to respond to all of them. Make sure you come check us out on stream. We are streaming tonight from 8 p.m. Pacific time to 1 a.m. Pacific time, and I can't wait to see you guys there. Have a good rest of your day, y'all.